What's going on, everyone? It's Jeremy Maddox, and today we're going to talk about domestic versus international travel. So for international trips, you'll need to check travelstate.gov before your trip. There you can see what's all needed, such as visas, entry-exit fees, as well as currency, if you need shots or not, and of course you'll need your passport beforehand. So for domestic travel, you'll simply need your ticket and a little bit of patience. So to talk on the differences between the actual flights, an international flight, you're going to get a lot more amenities. Things are going to be roomier. You're going to have your space. It's going to be comfortable, probably in-flight movie. You'll have plug adapters, anything you can think of, maybe even Wi-Fi. International flights are great, and you also get meal service on most of them. And then on the flip side, you have domestic flights. They don't really offer you a lot. They don't really offer you any comfort, any food, or anything. I think United now has plug adapters or somewhere where you can plug in your electronics while you're flying. But really, you're going to get some peanuts and probably a half cup of soda. That's about it. Great. So we all know the differences between an international flight and a domestic flight, or just international travel in general versus domestic travel. Alright, so what do you do if you're leaving the US mainland and you're flying to, say, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, to Guam, or any of the US territories? Is that an international flight or is that a domestic flight? I bring that up because when I flew to Hawaii, I was asked by our parking shuttle driver, taking us to the airport, what terminal are we leaving out of? And I said, I don't know. I would assume domestic, since, you know, Hawaii is one of the 50 states. And he's like, oh, you're going to Hawaii? It's like, yeah. He's like, oh, you're leaving out international terminal. So that was a learning experience for me, because although it was technically a domestic flight, it left out of the international terminal. So the rule of thumb, basically, if you're leaving the US mainland to fly to a destination over water or something of that nature, most likely you're going to leave out the international terminal, and you know, you will go through customs at whatever place you arrive at, but it's going to leave out international terminal as a domestic flight. So finally, with all that said, make sure you have a passport just in case, because if you're flying to, let's say, the American Samoa, you may have to show your passport or naturalization papers or anything of that sort. So just make sure all your stuff is in order before you fly, because for me it was an experience. Luckily I didn't have to use a passport, and luckily I did have a passport, because if you get into some trouble, first of all, it's ID, gateway to the world. You can go anywhere usually with no hassle. So that's all I have for today. Please be sure and subscribe to this channel. As well, visit us anytime at todaysindividual.com. Peace. Great, so we all know the basics of domestic versus international. I'm gonna throw, stop. That's all I have for today. Please be sure and subscribe. Brain freeze.